So, Black Panther 2 is now being delayed once again because it sounds like Letitia Wright and her unvax status is causing her to not be able to film. I believe when we got the last update, it was because she was having onset injuries and they had to basically cease production because they had already shot all of the non-Shuri film for the movie, but they still needed to film more stuff with her. And so, because of that, they had to cease production. She had injuries. This further complicates things because now she can't even make it back to the U.S.
Well, because I didn't have the updates about them having all the non-Letitia Wright film already shot, which tells me they were pretty close to being done, which is very surprising.
I'm actually going to check on that. I know I saw that somewhere, but I can't remember where.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
wanna...
but even if it's true, that means they're much further along in production than what I would have thought by now. So that's, it is what it is, I guess. But so more specifically about what it is that's keeping her from being able to record. So I guess she went to London to heal, and then I guess there is some sort of provision with non-citizens or non-immigrant travelers coming into the U.S. have to prove their vaccination status, right? So obviously with Letitia Wright being anti-jab or not willing to take the jab at this point has led her to be in this predicament. So it's going to be interesting because I don't think there's nothing really Marvel or Disney can do to get around this. It kind of is what it is at the point. They're kind of forcing her into a spot to say, like, take it or leave it. I don't even think there are exceptions. Well, there are obviously medical exceptions, I would believe, but not, hey, I don't believe in this. I think they're just going to tell her to stay where she's at. My question is, you don't have no house in LA or wherever they or Atlanta. You don't have a place in Atlanta or nothing like that you're staying. It was just surprising that like she went all the way out the country to go home.
Yeah.
Which I mean, go where you're comfortable, I guess. If I had an injury, I would want to be in my bed and be home, but I don't know. It just kind of seemed, with you still having the obligation of finishing the movie and finishing your shots, I would have expected probably her to stay a little closer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it obviously puts it into a bit of a pickle because I don't think after all of this that we've been through with her in relation to this subject that she just backs down and does what they ask her to do so she can get back into the United States. I do not foresee that being the case. I don't think we have any reason to believe that that's what this is going to amount to. So what does that mean necessarily for BP2? I mean, do you think that they would recast her in the middle of all of this? You think that they would recast her?
That does seem to be a very popular sentiment that's growing is recasting both of them.
They can't afford to do that. I don't think they can afford to, because after all the shit that you talked about and this gearing up to pass it to her, if they replace her while saying that they didn't want to replace Chadwick, like, we would have to be fools if we would go out there and see that movie then.
Yeah, you would have to, if you're recasting Shuri, then at that point recast T'Challa and
recast them both and scrap this whole T'Challa had a Jon Snow baby with Nakia and that's going to be the new T'Challa. Man, get out of here with that shit. I don't want that. I don't fucking want that. I don't want it. Don't want it. I don't want you putting modern day fatherless children story tropes into Black Panther. That's not what this was for. We were supposed to be so far past any of that, but they would rather choose the first real black superhero and turn it into a Tyler Perry film. So, but I think it puts them into a pickle with marketing for this movie, with it being a ode to Chadwick by retiring his character but replacing Shuri.
Yeah.
I don't think they just get past that, even though I think the general sentiment from fans is that they're putting the onus on Letitia Wright.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think that buys them enough political capital to say, all right, we're gonna replace her, but not T'Challa, because it's respectful not to replace Chadwick Boseman, but we don't give a damn about being replaced or being respectful for this black woman, so we just gonna do whatever. They can't afford that because highlighting black women, it seems like it's going to be the highlight of this film. So it would have an air of stink on it. It would be very ironic for them to be highlighting black women as they just replaced this black woman.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that would be nuts. At that point, just take a breath, delay, recast.
Yeah. I mean, we never should have gotten here in the first place, y'all. This movie should have been delayed from jump, and it ended up being delayed anyways. It ended up being delayed anyway. There was no reason to be so rash, be so quick, right? You thought that you were going to be able to control the narrative on this thing. And while you put all your resources into ignoring a certain subset of the fan base over this, you're coming apart at the seams in other places. This is not a close-knit production. You can sell me all the family, all we love, we sit around and talk about Chadwick all the time. You can miss me with all that shit. Right? That's propaganda. It's pulling away from the fact that this production is in shambles and has been for a while now. Right? If it's not the rewriting of the scripts, it's the controversy over recasting. If it's not any of that, it's something happening with Letitia Wright. Like, nothing good is going to happen to this movie until you do right by Chadwick. Sorry to invoke color purple, but that's what it is. Till you do right by that man, nothing's going to happen good on this franchise. Mark my words. Period.
I think I was in the comments and I specifically said, like, it damn near seems like this movie is fucking cursed.
Until you do right by Chadwick, truly, and not try to monetize his death, to try to make $1 billion off of some black man dying. Before you do that, I urge you to reconsider. Nothing is good out of that type of nefariousness, if that's even a word.
Nefariousness?
Impropriety.
Any other thoughts on the impending delay?
It is going to be very interesting to see what happens with that, man, because so do they like pull up on her in London and try to reshoot it? But I feel like that would be, you would have to add something to the script to make it fit because they've been shooting in Atlanta. And I've never been to London, but I've been to Atlanta, and I don't imagine that Atlanta looks anything like London. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not going to be sitting here looking at Big Ben in the background and being like,
and be like, oh, this Wakanda? Hell no. Hell no.
Oh, shit.
Hey. Where y'all going? Where y'all going?
Tell us what you think about Letitia Wright's status. Does she come back? How does she come back? What do you think is going to happen in Black Panther 2? Tell us in the comments.
And for more updates on Recast Tchalla, we got a playlist, and make sure to subscribe.